Alright, today I have a 2005 Volvo V70. This is actually my personal car. It's got a misfire code, and as usual with these things, we have a check engine lights. You can see there, and I don't know if you can hear this, but you can kind of tell that it's not running quite smoothly. Certainly not as smooth as it should anyway. Alright, so as is typical for a procedure like this, we're going to scan the engine computer. And on this car, again, as is typical with any OBD2 car, the port is under the dash within reach of the driver. I'm using just a generic OBD2 reader. All you do is plug this into the port under the dash. See, nothing magic here. So just enter, reading the codes. Codes found 1. Read codes, engine, and yep, just a P0301. So all 0300 through 312, I guess, are misfire codes, and the number at the end that's following the 3 tells you which cylinder. So 301 is cylinder 1, 302 would be cylinder 2, and so on. And I believe 300 is random multiple misfires. Alright, so I'm gonna get to work in replacing the spark plugs on this car, which are typically the cause of a misfire like this. It could also be the coil, but this is a very slight misfire, so I will start by doing the plugs and go from there. So the hood release on this Volvo is right at the bottom of the front door, immediately under the OBD2 port. And so pop the hood and we'll get to work. Pretty simple procedure on this car. Eight bolts holding this cover on, 2, 4, 6, 8, and a couple of clips to pop the final cover that covers both the cylinder 1 ignition coil, spark plug, as well as the timing belt on this side. If you had a turbo version, whether it be the R or just the T5, or the regular low pressure turbo and the XC models, the all-wheel drive models, you would have a pressure pipe that might be in the way that you may need to remove, but otherwise the procedure is the same. Okay, so let's just get to work. Okay, at this point all of the bolts from the covers are off. And to remove the cover, you just pull up. And it should be pretty easy to move at this point. There's not really anything else in the way. And 2 clips that hold this cover onto the rest of the timing belt cover, and that's it. Off and out. You get to inspect the belt, and this would be the same procedure if you're just looking at the belt versus doing this whole job. And at this point we just need a 10mm socket to remove the ignition coils. As you can see, each coil is held in by an electrical clip and a 10mm bolt. The clip, you just push, which should disengage, and then pull off the cable. Same procedure for the rest of them. This looks like it's a little stuck, so I'm actually giving it some help with my finger. getting under the clip. So you should be able to just push this way, which lifts that catch, but these have been stuck, so I'm putting my finger under here and pulling up this way. So I will do that for all of them. It looks like these may be the factory coils. That paint doesn't even look broken, so I suppose it's possible this car has never had a spark plug change, which could explain our issue. Though these coils are numbered, so somebody must have been here in the past. Alright, let's get to work. To remove the ignition coils, once the plug is, the electrical connector is off and the bolt has been taken out, it may be helpful to twist them as you pull up, and they should come out pretty easy. We'll just repeat the procedure for the rest of them. These are all coming out very, very easily. So the misfire for me was on cylinder 1, and I think the plug is just going to be sufficient to do this fix because it was a slight misfire. But I'm going to swap the coils between 1 and a different cylinder, maybe 5. So it's good to label them to see where they're coming from. Now I was lucky, I guess the last time this was done on this car, they were already labeled, so I won't have to do that. Volvo original plugs, and they are not in very good shape. Very, very worn. Ooh, this one's even worse. That is a pretty bad looking plug. More of the same. Yep, definitely time for a replacement. Good thing we're making that replacement. Here's what a new plug is supposed to look like. As you can see, the wear on the electrode is, well, non-existent because they're new. So let's drop them in. That concludes the mechanical part of this repair. Now let's go back in the car and start it, see what it sounds like, reset the engine computer, and see how we do. Nice and smooth. Alright, plugged in the OBD2 reader. So all we do is press this button. It's linking to the computer. Codes found 1. So I will go ahead and erase the codes. Looks like our check engine light's gone off. So very nice and smooth running, and we will see if this was a permanent repair and go from there. So let's go over the tools we need for this job. You need a T40 torx, and this is to remove the timing belt and the spark plug cover. And this is a bit driver for it. And I'm just using an adapter so I can use a larger ratchet than a 1/4 inch. So all you need to remove the covers to inspect the ignition coils or the timing belt would be this. And my bit came from just the standard bit set that you can see here. Very handy and really rather cheap for what you get. Aside from that, I also used a 10mm socket. This was to take off the ignition coils as they're held in by a 10mm. A couple of extensions, just makes the job a little bit easier to have the different lengths of extensions. The OBD2 scanner, this is just a generic cheap one. I believe it was like $30, well worth every penny. I keep one in each car, especially on road trips. And that's actually all of it.